Hey, family. It is your girl, Sindel, DNP, Diva. So, I am impressed to do a series on educating the public on the different degrees in nursing education. Because recently, as most of you know, I graduated with my DNP. However, I was commended and people were congratulating me on receiving my PhD in nursing. But that is not my title. I don't have a research degree, although part of my schooling did require a huge research project. So I want to get into a few sessions on talking about different levels of nursing, where I started and where most nurses started, and where I am today. So let us get into it. So when I was in undergrad back in 2011, I graduated in 2011. This was, back in 2009-ish, around 2009, I went to a job fair and I was hired as a nurse assistant in training. So that is the first step, or was the first step for me in getting into nursing, was to get trained as a nurse assistant. What is that, you ask? Great question. So an NA is again titled nurse assistant, and essentially the nurse assistant are personnel who do most of the hands-on for patients in the hospital. Okay, that title or that job responsibility requires, I believe, only a high school diploma. Most places will accept you with no experience to little experience as a nurse assistant. Now, when I got trained as a nurse assistant, I had no experience at all. However, the hospital hired me. Paid training. I got paid training for about 6 weeks to learn the trade of being a nurse assistant. And so it was learning how to answer the call lines. It was learning how to empty a Foley bag with patient's urine. It was learning how to do turn patients in the bed. It was learning how to transfer patients, for instance, from the bed to the wheelchair. What else? So those hands-on things, of course, hand washing, very important, was a must. Some other things included oral care for patients, feeding patients. And oral care is interesting because when you start working in the hospital, it's funny that a lot of the NAs, and I know some NAs are going to give feedback on this, they kind of fight back about doing some of those responsibilities. It's not a pretty task, you guys. It is not pretty. It is strenuous work. It is could be gory work as a nurse assistant. And so I know that I've worked with some nurse assistants who would refuse to do those tasks. However, it's what we're trained to do. It's what we're trained to do as a nurse assistant. Answer the call light when the patients ring the button, ring the bell for help. Of course, vital signs, knowing how to take a manual blood pressure, knowing how to take heart rate, pulse, temperature under the tongue, under the arm. So all those vital signs are very essential for a nurse assistant, and being able to report to your registered nurse any results that are not within normal limits. WNL, not within normal limits. That means as a nurse assistant, we have to know what normal is. And so that is essentially first step. Now, I said nurse assistant, and that's a term we use in Michigan. In different states, there's like STNA, and there are other titles in various states. Nurse assistant is not certified, but to work in a hospital as a nurse assistant, you don't have to be certified. So the certified nurse assistants are the CNAs, okay? CNAs. You don't have to be certified. I believe to work in the nursing home, you do have to be certified. I was never certified as a nurse assistant. I did take the exam at the end of the 6 weeks, and I passed that exam just after the class was over. But I did not take the state boards to become a certified nurse assistant. I worked in the hospital throughout that tenure of being a nurse assistant. All right, so that is it for my informational session today on steps to becoming the DNP where I am today, but just reflecting back on level number 1, the first entry level that I had experience with in nursing care for patients. Let me know if you have any questions. Please shoot it. Any feedback, anything you want to share about nursing assistants that I missed, that I didn't cover. All right, have a wonderful evening.